The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Welcome into the latest edition of Crossed Flags, something that we can actually now call award-winning. Who would have thought that?
That we can.
We're going to kind of go a little bit off script here. We could talk about things that have gone on the track, say at Bristol over the last weekend or something, or things that are coming up. But that's why we have a big show on Saturday mornings starting at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. Check it out, talk995.com, or as usual, CRN Live on YouTube. You can check it out there as well. Now, what we're going to talk about is that right there. And as your microphone falls, welcome to our podcast studio.
All good.
As we record this on Tuesday the 14th, we go back just really to last Saturday night. And we were all part, and I say we were all, myself, Matt Nicholson, the unpictured for the moment, Molly, producer Molly. We were all in attendance at the 20th annual Alabama Broadcasters Association Awards, or the ABBYs, as they like to call them. And kind of give you a little bit of background on a couple of things. Let's talk about the ABBY Awards here real quick in how these are done. Like if you've ever watched the Oscar ceremony, the Emmy ceremony, you know that they have industry insiders that vote on what they think is the best picture, the best TV show drama, best TV show comedy of the year. And then all those votes are taken in and they're put into a clearinghouse, basically read lawyer's office, and they go through and they tally up who won, who was second, who was third, and then they tell whatever individual party it is or whatever individual sanctioning body, the Oscars, the Emmys, hey, here's your winner. Go make the trophy, put this show or this movie on it as best. In the case of the ABBY Awards, it's a little bit different, because you have radio stations and TV stations both, and they're of different what we call market sizes. Birmingham is the largest media market in the state of Alabama, along with Huntsville and Montgomery and Mobile. And then you get the little small towns, like one of the places that we were at before with our big show, which was out in Anniston, for example, or maybe even you get even a little bit smaller. One of the winners for small market radio station, picked up several awards, was in Center, Alabama. So first of all, congratulations to everybody, TV and radio, who did win an ABBY Award, because it is a big deal. But you have all these different categories that you can submit in, and we came across one that was radio podcast. And you might ask how we came across it. Well, our boss, James, thank you, by the way.
For sure.
We'll say it again in a bit. He is a member or board member, or at least was, I don't know if he still is, a member of the Alabama Broadcasters Association board. And he started to get us very involved in that. And when I started here 4 years ago at Cumulus Media Birmingham, he wanted to have us be a part of it. And well, being the producer for the Dixon and Vining show on Talk 99.5, I was the one in charge of putting together the ABBY Awards submission for the morning show. Well, Richard Dixon went the first year, Valerie Vining went the second year, and then they both looked at me and went, "You're up, dude." So I went in year 3. We didn't win anything that we had put in for, but I'm sitting there at the table with James, the general manager. No, I wasn't sucking up. Jocks had a table pretty much by themselves, so I sat by James. And I'm watching and I'm listening to the winners of these specific categories, and I start thinking to myself, we could have put in for that. Could put in for this. We could put in for that. We could put in for this. And I just started thinking about it. So I grabbed the program, and I spent about an hour just highlighting all the different things that I thought we could enter. Podcast was one of them. So that's how we came to this point. And between Matt and myself, we stopped and we thought about, in January, what we might use to create a submission. And you can't do a full podcast. They're only going to pay attention to about 3 to 5 minutes tops anyway. So I said, let's try and find about 30 to 60 second clips of maybe 2 different podcasts And Matt was great at suggesting a particular area, and I grabbed those couple of different spots and cut them down into where they needed to be, made the submission, and man, Saturday night. Let's give you the collage that Molly has made up of some of the pictures here. And we appreciate her hard work on this. And let's start with this one right up here in the corner, upper left-hand corner. This was before the ceremony. As you can tell, it is kind of a big deal. They do want you to kind of get dressed up. Molly by far outshined either one of us. I can really be honest with you. And I'll tell you straight out, that suit that I'm wearing, I wasn't going to wear it. I was going to dress a little bit more like Matt, kind of casual business. My wife said, nope, need to be in the tie. Oh, great. Okay.
Matt doesn't do ties.
I don't like to do ties. I generally only wear ties to weddings and funerals.
The last time I had a tie around my neck was in my wedding in 2011. 15 years ago.
Anyway, so we took that picture that you see up there at the club in Birmingham where we had the ceremony held. And I thought it was a great opportunity to get a picture of the three of us. Producer John not able to make it. He was tied up in Northwest Alabama at the time, so he wasn't able to arrive and be part of it. But we were able to get that picture, and then we got the ceremony going. And the first one of the categories, and remember, Molly works over on WJOX, our sister station as well, and they were up for several awards just like we were. But the first one that came up, as far as the ones that we actually put in for, was this particular award for Best Radio Podcast. Now, notice I didn't say anything like Best Radio Podcast Large Market.
Yeah.
This is just Best Radio Podcast.
All three markets.
All three sizes, small, medium, and large. Honestly, we don't know how many submissions there were for this particular category, but according to our general manager, there were quite a few. That's a pretty good note that we were picked by that.
For sure.
So how does this work? The Alabama Broadcasters Association takes all the submissions, radio and television, and they turn them over to a group of people from another state's broadcasting association. It's not done here in the state of Alabama. It's done someplace else. They do all the judging. This is truly, and no disrespect to Alabama, but if you're here and you happen to be on the panel and you would be, working for the TV station or radio station and that submission came up, you might be favorable to it. In this case, by turning it over to people outside of the state of Alabama, they don't have that tie because they're not told who owns the radio station or the TV station. They might know it, but they don't, they're not supposed to. So thank you to the judges who listened to our podcast and all the other ones said that one's the best one of the group.
No doubt.
Cannot thank them enough. And I don't know about Matt. I'll let him tell his side of the story. But when the Best Radio Podcast category came up, I'm staring at the big TV screen waiting for the winner to pop up.
I was too.
And suddenly it shows us. And it literally said, Best Radio Podcast winner, crossed flags, my name, Matt's name, Molly's name. And all I did was just kind of bend down, did a quick thank you, Lord, stood up, grabbed my jacket, which I had taken it off, and started walking up towards the stage. Matt came up with me, as you can see here. And, you have to give the speech. You have to give the thank yous. We'll give some thank yous out here in just a moment because, truth be told, we didn't want to take a whole lot of time. I mean, the number of thank yous out there is best done in a place like this where we have a little bit more time. Yep. They've got a whole lot of awards to give out.
For sure.
So nice action shot, by the way, by some really good people. They know how to do this stuff right, and we appreciate that. And I got up there, gave the speech, and, unreal. I mean, I've been in this business now going on 40 years. My first actual paid radio gig happened in 1987, well before Miss Molly was born. And I've heard of these awards. I've never really tried to put in for them. I've never had to give an acceptance speech. That was quite the night. It was very, very cool to be a part of that. And to be in a room where, and I've been in the city of Birmingham in either working for radio or television really since 1997. I have come across just about everybody in this market at some point in time or another. And to get the number of people coming up saying hello, saying congratulations within this business, cannot say thank you enough about that either, because that's humbling in a lot of ways, but it's also in kind of a ways, it's a neat little feather in the cap. It kind of, makes you give the big head.
It's a feather in the cap for sure, no doubt, because, I had intentions, because you got a hold of me, I think on Friday. It was on Friday, I think it was, around midday. I had intentions. I was going to make the trek up 65 and go to the Nashville Fairgrounds and go take in the cars to our late model race.
Which would have been a lot of fun.
And he said, got a few extra seats at the Abbeys if you want to go. I went, sure. Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, what, I'm asking, what if? There's that chance. It's 50-50. There's that chance it's there. So I'm like, yeah, let me go get the suit out of the closet. Got it out. My wife, she had plans with her sister to go have a girls' evening, which I said, it's completely fine. It's no big deal. It's completely fine.
Yeah, it was last second. It wasn't like we'd planned this out months ago.
I said, it's completely fine. Don't sweat it. Well, what if you get there and you win? I was like, I don't even know if we're going to or not. I said, because more than likely, there's going to be some extremely stiff competition.
I imagine there was, too.
So I said, if we do, we do. If we don't, it was the experience of just being in the room with those people alone. Was for me would have been was the feather in the cap, just being in that room. Well, and I'm sitting there, like he was saying, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the little thing they got with all the awards, and I'm watching it and just counting them down. Well, it was like 6 or 7 before I stepped out of the room for just a moment to go to the restroom and come back real quick. I'm like, I gotta hurry up and get back. I'm like, let me put my jacket on just in case. Well, when I got a couple away, where it was almost, he was sitting in conjunction to me at the table, almost like it is right now.
Yeah.
But the television screen where they was displaying all the winners was to what would be our right. So I turned around like this right here, and I'm sitting, just watching. It says Best Radio Podcast, and I turned around and seen it flash up, and I went.
Yeah. Eyes got real wide.
Not
only his.
I said, I looked at him, I said, are you serious? And I look over, and Molly's across the table. And here's a comparison of the look she had on her face when I looked up and seen her. And this is by absolutely no means whatsoever a crack off of her alma mater at all. You would have thought Nebraska just had scored a last-second touchdown against Oklahoma to win the big game. That's what the look was like. Yeah.
Or pick the rivalry game. It doesn't really matter.
The rivalry game. And
I mean, for those of you that need to know, but she used to be on the dance team for the University of Nebraska.
Yeah.
And she still has that same enthusiasm. Yeah. And she did that night. She was really, really thrilled because, in all honesty, there was a part of me that wanted me to think, kind of thought, she's happy for us because we won. Well, she's a part of it.
She's in it just as much as anybody.
Absolutely. This was a pure team win.
And I'll get up there on the stage and I'm going like, dear Lord. And I'm looking across and you see the tables of ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, the affiliates out of Birmingham, Montgomery, Huntsville, Mobile, Dothan, and then all the respective radio outlets. You're thinking like, wow.
Yeah.
I immediately thought in my mind, this just validates what we've been working on.
Yeah. This was a very, very cool situation. And this big picture right here was right after we stepped off the stage and we had the opportunity to get the professional picture. Thank you to Uncle Boz, as his name is, known in and around the city and to a lot of people in the media business. He does a lot of media pictures like this, and the Abbey Awards is very lucky to have him as the official photographer, and we appreciate him, no doubt. But this was something that really kind of came as a labor of love, because if you know anything about the history of our big show, you know that we've been toiling away at this thing, or I have at least, for over 15 years. And it began at another radio station as a little 15-minute segment on a Saturday afternoon show, because I was just looking to fill time and I didn't want to be news heavy on a Saturday. Saturday at 1 o'clock, I'm thinking people are listening. They couldn't care less about politics. That's a Monday through Friday thing. They're mowing the grass. They're fixing the car. They're doing little work in the house, and they're listening. And they just want something a little bit lighter hearted. So I thought, well, I'll do a segment about racing. And that 15 minutes turned into an hour, and that hour turned into 2 hours, which is what the big show is now, 2 hours. And that big show went from that radio station to another group down in Sylacauga, and then to a group over in the Anniston, Oxford area. And now it's here. We just went through our second big show. This coming Saturday is show number 3. But while it was still over in Anniston, I started to work here. And my boss, James, and I use the term for myself and Molly, our boss, Ryan Haney, operations manager, and my program director at Talk 99.5, Valerie, I was a little leery about asking this, but I'm like, you know that I do this racing show and I do it on another station that Cumulus Media doesn't own. And they're like, we understand. We're good with it. Because there's very little crossover in the formats between those two. So they allowed me to keep doing the show. But James, I think wheels started turning. He's like, how can we get a part of that? Because he started to learn more about me. And, you know, Molly, you may have had the same experience as soon as you got hired. James took a very big interest in, okay, why was this person hired? Who is this person? And what do they bring to the table that I need to know? Am I correct? Okay, she's agreeing. He found out that not only was I doing this 2-hour racing show on the station over in Anniston, but that I had been, since 2007, the PA announcer in the tower for Talladega Superspeedway. And I had just that year was the first year that I was asked to become the PA announcer for Barber Motorsports Park on IndyCar weekend by Zoom Motorsports. Gene Hallman and the crew out there. Thank them, by the way, too. And James, his wheels just started spinning to the point where it's like a drag racer who smoked his tires. He was working overtime trying to figure out a way to do this. And it turned out this room right here, one of the main reasons why Molly was hired, on-air talent notwithstanding, she's very, very good at what she does on air. But she was brought in here to head up this. She is the podcast queen. And this is her studio. This is her realm, so to speak. And he thought, I could maybe do a podcast with him. So James commissioned this podcast. And we've been doing it now for 2 years?
Just about it, yeah.
Is that right? About 2 years, Mom?
Close to it.
Give or take? I think we're close to celebrating our second anniversary. Unreal that this all happened in this short period of time. And, you know, now everything is over here, and we're just unbelievably thankful for watching the growth of this podcast, watching the growth of the big show, watching the growth of the Championship Racing Network as a whole, along with Cumulus Media as our partners, now full partners. We can honestly say that. So that brings us to this, and this is our list of thank yous. And I'm going to turn it over to Matt first and let Matt give his list, because we said some, and I was the one that was speaking. I didn't mean to slight Matt by any stretch, but again, I wanted to kind of keep it short and compact.
No, that was fun.
This is the opportunity for Matt to say those thank yous above and beyond the video that he put up on CRN Live on YouTube last night. But you can repeat that if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, in a simple way, you know, just every single individual that's had. Well, let me say this first. You know, I kind of thought about it last night, right before I made done that video and put it up on CRN Live on YouTube. you know, being 3 males and 1 female, we're now the Artemis crew of the radio podcast for 2026.
That's true. We came in for a nice landing too.
Came in for a soft landing too. But I honestly don't even know where you can start. First off, everybody here at Cumulus that got us in and got us back home, because when I originally come in, we were over here in the Birmingham area
market. Yeah, they're right.
So now we're back home, and now, like I said the other day when we were walking out of the club in Birmingham, I said there is really now no telling where this is about to go, and it's almost like a pipe dream thinking about it. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if we end up here? What if we end up there? What if this goes here? What if this goes there? It's just like the possibilities are endless. But like I said earlier, this is the beginning of validation of what we've been working on for so long, trying to elevate it step by step by step by step. But like I said last night, I know good and well, I know almost real good and well, I speak for Steve, I can speak for John Myers, speaking for Molly, everybody. Thank you isn't enough. It honestly isn't enough, because personal friends of mine that call me after the show, like, man, that was pretty good. They'll just call me on a whim, and I'm headed home down I-20. Man, y'all had a good show today. You were listening? Well, thank you. No, we was listening and watching. Nice. And now that we're back over here and the ability's better, my 87-year-old grandfather has now taken an interest in getting in deeper into this, into what we're doing. Because when I talked with him Sunday, he said, "You did what?" When I told him what happened, I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I'll just be." I was just saying, "Well, I'll just be." That's all right, there. That's all
actually
right.
Pretty big.
That's all right, right there.
That's the way our grandparents talk.
Yeah, well, I'll just be.
That is a big deal if they're going to say that.
But from starting at the top, from my wife putting up, well, I was going to say it like it is. She's put up with me doing this in multiple fashions for going on 10 years now. Mm-hmm. I can't say a thank you enough, because she knows I'm enjoying myself. She knows I'm having fun being a part and talking about something that I've adored dearly since I've been a kid, and that's motorsports in general. She knows I enjoy it, and she supports me doing it, and I can't say thank you enough to her. My family that supports me doing it, because they're always asking, how'd your show go? How'd your show do? If they can't hear it. It was good. It was good. Everything went good. It sounded good. Well, you asked me about it. You was listening, so kind of chuckling it off. But I could go on from now until dark. But everybody, you know who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
From the obvious of the people who have been beside me through this, either for a short or for a very long period of time, Matt, producer John, Molly, this was a true team effort. There's no doubt about it, because what you see at the very beginning and at the very end, the beginning and end titles, that's all producer John. You hear his voice there. Everything that you're seeing in the middle, as far as the sound, as far as the picture work and everything behind us, that's all producer Molly. We're just here. We're the voices, and they make us sound and look good. So many, many multiple thanks to them for helping, because if it wasn't for them, can't say as necessarily we would have gotten that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be there.
My mom and dad passed away in 2016 and 2008, respectively. But when I was a senior in high school, or I was going to become a senior in high school, you get that question as you're leading up to the first day of school from some family friend, and that family friend, Mrs. Gennari, happened to be a teacher in Pelham in the Shelby County school system at that time. And she asked me the obvious question. You're a senior in high school. What do you want to do for a living? Well, since 1213, I wanted to be Casey Kasem. Look it up, kids. All I ever wanted to do was be on the radio. And it was confirmed when I was told, go to what is now Jocks 94.5. Back and then in the mid to late 1980s, it was called I-95. Had people on the air like Mark and Brian and Jimbo Wood, who have been amazing talents in radio, not just in Birmingham. And I went and I spent my first day at that radio station as an intern, and I came back home and mom and dad asked how it was, and I just, apparently, I don't really remember it. Apparently, I just went off and had a great time, and mom and dad looked at each other that night and went, we know what he's doing for a living. And they were 100% supportive of it, to the point where they paid for my broadcasting school at the no longer existence Broadcasting Institute of Maryland. But thanks to everybody there, including the late Mr. Jeppy, all the instructors there were fantastic. Can't say enough. And through 40 years of radio, you get to do things that you sometimes never really thought you were going to get a chance to do. And you come across people. I came across Matt Coulter the first time that I worked here back when this cluster of radio stations was called Citadel Broadcasting. And Matt Coulter has been the rock of the trackside PA announcer at Talladega Superspeedway since 1983. And he happened to need somebody to help him out up in the tower. And he asked me, would I have any interest in it? And I said, you better believe it. And that was on the heels of me being at the old Birmingham International Raceway. And it's just, I've been there since 2007. I've loved every minute of being able to be up in the PA booth doing that, because it combines my love of being on a microphone with another love, which is racing. So thanks to Christy King, who initially hired me, and all the people who have put up with me through the course of time. The late Grant Lynch, Brian Crichton, who's no longer at Talladega Superspeedway, Russell Branham, and all so much for putting up with me. But for the most important one of putting up with me as we get ready to celebrate 25 years of being married, Karen, my wife. She has put up with the miles of travel, whether it's to go be the PA announcer at Talladega, whether it's to go do this show in a radio station in Homewood or Sylacauga or out in Anniston or back here in Birmingham. The sudden trips that we have taken because that we were asked, can you do Darlington? Can you do Richmond? Can you do Homestead, Miami? These sudden quick trips and the weekends that we have spent at Atlanta or Nashville Fairgrounds or Daytona or wherever we have had the opportunity to go.
Charlotte,
Bristol, all these tracks. And we promise we're going to go to more. We're planning on going to Montgomery for the IHRA coming up here in less than a month. In fact, what is it, the weekend after or 2 weeks after Talladega? 2 weeks after Talladega. We're going to take in our first IHRA event and see how they do it at Montgomery. But her patience in putting up with me being gone practically at the drop of a hat is probably the biggest thank you. And he echoed it with his wife, because we're leaving them to take care of the house, take care of the pets, whatever it is, at the drop of a hat to go do some project that we love that is now suddenly starting to gain more traction than we ever thought. So to Karen, our biggest thank you. Again, producer John, producer Molly, Matt, thank them so much for being part of this team, because God knows I couldn't do this by myself. And on behalf of all four of us and everybody here at Cumulus Media, from James, our general manager, our ops manager, Ryan Haney, my boss, Valerie Vining, all of our coworkers who have been very supportive of this as well.
For sure.
Cannot thank them enough for doing all of this. For our salespeople, let's go get some sponsors. And to you, our viewers, our listeners, because this is on several different outlets now. You can get this podcast on 3 different YouTube channels. We talk about CRN Live on YouTube. That's something that we started. There's also Jocks 94.5 on YouTube. And there's Real Talk 99.5 on YouTube. So you can catch it any of those ways. And we also have an audio edition on Spotify. You got no excuses. You can find us anywhere. Please look us up anywhere. Tell friends, tell neighbors, tell your neighbors' friends, tell your friends' neighbors. Get it out there. This is our labor of love, and you guys have been ultimately supportive of it. And it's because of you that we're still doing this, and we can't thank you enough. So thank you for your support. We hope it continues, and we look forward to continuing this on when we get back to being regular format come Saturday morning on the big show. Again, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time, Talk 99.5 on your FM dial, Real Talk 99.5 on YouTube, or CRN Live on YouTube. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts and for our entire being, because we wouldn't be doing this if it were not for you right here on Cross Flags. We'll talk to you next week.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.